Half-Life Alyx is probably everyone's most anticipated VR game this year, and for good reason. The Half-Life series is one of the best reviewed games of all time, and it's been 13 years now since the second episode of Half-Life 2 came out. So I think everyone is curious about what Valve will do with this one. Let me start by saying that I finished the game already, as Valve gave us early access. So this video is my full review of the game. I won't spoil the new storyline in this video, of course, but I'll talk about all the VR game mechanics. This video should answer all your questions that you may have before buying, like how it works on different headsets and controllers. Hey everyone, my name is Cas, and if you'd like to see more VR videos like this one, then subscribe if you haven't yet. And we have a lot to talk about, so now join me beyond reality. Half-Life Alyx is set before the events of Half-Life 2. You play as Alyx Vance, a hacker and a mechanic who fights with her father Eli against the alien force called the Combine. The Combine has taken over the world and is depleting its resources. Humans are subject to their cruel, authoritarian police state, so humans formed an underground resistance, and Alyx is one of his prominent members. The first thing you might wonder is whether you should play Half-Life before you dive into Alyx. I myself hadn't played the games before Alyx came out, so I checked summary videos of the first game and then played the second game as far as I could. And I am happy I did. You don't need to have played the games, but knowing the story will help with appreciating this new game more. The game takes place in City 17, which has been one of the primary locations in previous games, and it's shockingly beautiful. As an example, the first thing you see is the Citadel, which is the Combine's headquarters on Earth, and it's incredible to witness the actual scale of the skyscraper and realizing just how much power the Combine has. Not only that, but every place that you move to is highly detailed. This is probably one of the best looking VR games to date. As you play Alyx, you will hear her voice throughout the game. I love this as you can listen to Alyx's thoughts too. It makes you feel like you are getting to know her, and I may have fallen in love with her, but that's another story. Early in the game, you will also meet Russell. Throughout the game, he will talk to you using a headphone and help out when needed. He is the one who will give you the gravity gloves that work much like the gravity gun in Half-Life 2. Except you cannot shoot items away, you can pull objects from afar towards you. This works intuitively. If you want to pick up an object, you point your hand towards it until you see it turn red, and then you can pull it towards you using the trigger button. This is helpful for easy loot collection, but also in battle.
Oh man.
Early on, you'll get a flashlight that is attached to your glove. You cannot turn on the flashlight yourself though. It automatically turns on when it's dark, and this is probably one of the few cons I found in the game, as the flashlight sometimes did not turn on in terrifyingly dark places. Yes, Half-Life Alyx keeps close to the original games. You will explore City 17's mostly alien-infested buildings and underground areas. Some places are very dark, and when you hear the sound effects of something approaching, your hair will stand on end. There are many other things you might recognize from previous games. For example, throughout your playthrough, you can find the iconic wall-mounted charges that you can use for health. Except in Alyx, they are modified to make it work with your hand. Interactions with the technology in this game are often mysterious and beautiful, and it's another thing that is just a joy to look at in VR. Underneath your gloves, you can find one inventory slot per hand to store items. It is the first time I see inventory slots underneath the hands, and I think it's an interesting choice. Most games use body inventory slots, but often causes me to reach out for the wrong item accidentally, but these slots under the gloves are hard to mistake. Ammunition is stored by putting them over your shoulder, which is a familiar way to store items in VR games. Another thing I noticed right away is that the game is interaction rich. Most things around you are grabbable, throwable and breakable. Most items have weight too. Valve implemented fantastic hand animations here. Whatever you try to grab, you can see your fingers realistically snap on the object. So many times I've satisfyingly thrown a bottle on the ground just to see it break, as even that is polished. Maybe I'm a bit of a weirdo here, but having this level of interaction encourages exploration and increases immersion. Before we move on, please leave a like on this video if you want to see more reviews like this from us. Half-Life Alyx also features many returning enemies from the original games like barnacles, headcrabs and zombies, which can be pretty terrifying to go up against in VR, but also a delight to see them in these enhanced graphics. There are more returning enemies, but I won't spoil that for you. The game does also introduce a couple of new crazy alien enemies that will challenge you. Combat is mostly shooting in Alyx. Guns are all one-handed to keep one hand free for walled interaction. You can use your other hand for more stability though. Weapon switching is done by activating a floating interface with your gun hand. You open it by hold pressing a button on your gun hand and then moving your hand in the direction of the gun to select it. This allows for easy switching. Every gun has its own reloading mechanism. Just like the original games, finding new weapons occurs every so often as you progress in the game. Ammunition is limited. It is up to you to preserve your ammunition as much as possible so you don't run out or you will be in a very tense moment. Luckily, you can find ammo if you explore. These are highlighted with a bright blue color. It makes the job more fun because you can use your gravity gloves to throw boxes around with a flick of the wrist to see if something is in it. Exploration is further encouraged as you can find resin, which is a sort of currency to upgrade your weapons. Throughout the game, you will find upgrade stations to add upgrades to your guns. As Alyx is a hacker, you get a multi-tool that you need to unlock these upgrade stations. It's also used to unlock things like loot boxes and traps. To unlock, you have to solve mini puzzles that open up to you as holographic projections. Valve made an enjoyable design choice here as you will make use of your room scale tracking for this. The multi-tool is also used as a tool to route electrical wires to unlock paths. I did say Alyx is also a mechanic. There are bigger environmental puzzles as well which aren't hard and they don't make that much use of physics when compared to the puzzles in Boneworks. I did expect more here from Valve, but the game makes up for it with its action-packed combat and storytelling. I guess that is where the focus was. I think Valve implemented this game comfort first. One of the first things you might notice is that you don't have a full body in this game, only 2 floating hands. The more I play this game though, the more I appreciate this implementation. Let me explain. Don't get me wrong, a full body looks and feels more realistic, however it also makes for some clunky collisions with objects as you bump against things around you, especially when every object is physics driven. This happened in Boneworks and it is the main reason I felt motion sick playing it. This doesn't happen in Alyx as there is no full body, so your character won't unintentionally bounce around. There are more comfort-first design choices. For example, instead of a jump button, you will get a teleport button to shift to wherever you need to go quickly. This works for jumping over ledges, going through windows, etc. This also works for ladders, but for the diehards you can also climb it yourself. You can choose from multiple movement styles. There's continuous, shift teleport and blink teleport. Continuous is the same as smooth locomotion and here you can select for hand or head relative. This all works well as I haven't felt any discomfort at all. I mostly play using continuous locomotion that uses my head for direction. There are more comfort options, so I recommend checking it out to see what suits you best. Further in the menu, there's also a save option which allows you to save whenever you want. You can also change the difficulty of the game from easy to extremely challenging, and accessibility options are available as well, like choosing which hand is your preference or even choosing to play with only one hand. Streamers, please check the spectator options like camera smoothing as Valve has thought about us too. I've also tested the game on other VR headsets. I've played on the Valve Index, Rift S and HTC Vive Pro. They all work perfectly fine with the game. Different controllers don't matter for the gameplay, although playing on the Valve Index controllers will feel cooler as you use the gloves. This is why I mostly played with my Valve Index controllers. So it took me about 13 hours to finish Half-Life Alyx, which has 11 chapters, and I loved every hour of it. There were many times that I've been horrified as I saw that I had to walk toward a dead human hanging from the ceiling in an incredibly eerie scene, or just when the lights went out. Still, I could appreciate how beautiful it all looked. It was like a movie at times. I often gawk at the incredible views of the game. The story is also absolutely intriguing to me, as I for some reason really enjoy post-apocalypse stories. Half-Life Alyx is a game where every moment is excellent, which makes even walking around interesting to do. But if you're into alien shooting action like in the previous games, then you won't be lacking that. I also think the VR implementation is fantastic. Everything is designed in a way that makes the game comfortable without breaking immersion. This is why I would recommend this game for any VR newcomers over Boneworks. There isn't a lot of bad things I can say about this game. Most of the things I've mentioned were mostly nitpicks, so I think Valve once again has set the bar high for future VR games. I highly recommend it. Half-Life Alyx is now available on Steam for $53.99 US or 50 euros. Let us know in the comments below what your impressions are of the game. I would love to know. And if you have any more questions, you can also put them down below. We are also live streaming the game tonight. So if you can't play the game or just have more questions, then you can also join us there tonight. And thanks for watching once again. And I hope to see you all in the next video. A special thanks goes to our right-hand patrons, Art Amin, for his support. Check out his Board Games VR on Steam. And Baxon VR, check out his VR YouTube channel. As always, VR on. It's like a train station. That's awesome. I'm hoping I will get up in the city again. Kind of miss the warmth of the sun, daylight.